For the last few weeks, I've been doing alternate day fasts. It's a way for me to lose weight. Being able to eat every other day, it feels like a luxury since I have been fasting for much longer over the last year and a half. The harder part for me is controlling the calories, limiting my calories, but it's something that I have been practicing and something that I feel like I've gotten a lot better about today than I would have over a year and a half ago. So I want to take a little time today and talk about what my last couple refeeds look like, what they have looked like, what I enjoy, what I've been doing to strategize getting the most out of my calories. For example, a couple days ago after I completed a 46.5-hour fast, I broke with a huge bowl of broccoli. This isn't surprising, it's nothing new. It's something that I enjoy eating. It's also something that is super easy to prepare. I just go to the frozen section, I buy one of those broccoli bags that you can steam in the microwave, and then after it comes out, I would sometimes throw it in an air fryer, but because I was already so hungry, I was like, all right, let me just throw this in a bowl, add some seasoning, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and mixed it up, and then just ate it. It's a lot of volume and it's low calorie, which is going to be a theme pretty much for this video. Afterwards, I had about 3/4 of a pound of Brussels sprouts. This also is nothing new or special, but it is one of my favorite vegetables. I love being able to cook this in the oven and give it a little bit of a crisp. I really season it well. I put some oil on it to just make sure it doesn't stick to the pan. Still one of my favorite vegetables to eat during my refeeds. Now for the main course of the refeed was tacos. I ended up buying those low-carb tortilla tacos. I think each one was only 70 calories, a bunch of fiber, protein, and they're pretty big. I ended up using ground turkey, a full pound of ground turkey, some taco seasoning, lettuce, tomato, and some salsa. All three of these were massive. They were huge. I started off with 2 and I was pretty full, but I ended up making a third one because why not? After I finished all of that, I had a pound of mushrooms, an entire thing of mushrooms. Again, this was just seasoned, cooked in a skillet. Nothing really special, but mushrooms are one of my favorite vegetables as well. Afterwards, I had a banana. I have a bunch of these and I don't want them to go to waste. And then for the final meal to curb my sweet tooth was this gigantic bowl. This, again, shouldn't be a surprise. This was Jell-O sugar-free cheesecake with milk, with yogurt. I added pumpkin puree to give me the taste of pumpkin pie, one of my favorite desserts that I usually would eat. And then I crushed tea biscuits into it. These tea biscuits are pretty low cal for the volume that it gives you. Oh, and I also added some protein powder in here. All in all of this ended up being 2,280 calories and 163 grams of protein. I finished this in 2 hours and 5 minutes. And then after that, I pushed another 40-ish hour fast. I lost some weight. I didn't lose a ton, but still lost some, which is really nice to still lose weight every other day while I get to eat every other day. And so on this refeed, as I was preparing foods and getting everything ready, I was so hungry that I decided I would go ahead and just break with an apple. This was a Honeycrisp apple. It's probably my favorite apple out of all the apples, and it was a pretty big one. I think it was like 300-ish grams, and it was a good way to tide things off before my Brussels sprouts were done. And this was a huge pack of Brussels sprouts because I didn't have broccoli this time, so I gave myself over a pound there. Still really low in calories, but a ton of volume. And then afterwards, I've been having one of my favorite meals that I have recently prepared, which is ground turkey with spaghetti sauce. The ground turkey is obviously seasoned with salt, pepper, onion powder, probably some other things that I'm forgetting, but a whole thing of spaghetti sauce, a whole pound of ground turkey, garlic that I added mushrooms, I added zucchini, I added cherry tomatoes. It gave the entire thing so much volume. And calorie-wise, I think if I ate the entire thing, it would have been still under 1,300 calories, maybe even less than that. And I couldn't even eat it all. I ate about 3/4 worth. When I first had it, I just had the meat and spaghetti sauce, or tomato sauce or pasta sauce, whatever you want to call it. And then I had a second bowl where I added white rice. And honestly, after that, I was pretty full, but I still had a sweet tooth as always. I ended up making the same bowl of sugar-free, I believe this time it was vanilla pudding instead of the cheesecake. I did add milk, and instead of yogurt, I added cottage cheese. I think the next time I do this, I will blend the cottage cheese because the texture was just a little off. I think I've been used to the yogurt. I did add pumpkin in it. I also added PB2. It's something that I bought recently to cut down on the calories. And I didn't film it here, but I also added those digestive tea biscuits to give it a little more texture instead of just a creamy-ish texture, if you know what I mean. All in all, this was 2,575 calories and 144 grams of protein. I have to check my notes for this, but I finished this in about 2.5 hours. And that was 2 days ago. I have now completed, or I'm working on, another 40-ish hour fast. This morning, I lost more weight. Again, not a ton. I'm pretty much on a downward trend, but it's a pretty slow downward trend at this pace. It's also the fact that I'm 142.2 pounds and I have about 12 pounds to lose. It's not a ton of weight that I have to lose. I'm feeling pretty lean at this point, and what I'm doing right now feels really sustainable. It's something that I can be really consistent about. If you look at my chart of my weight, it's just been a downward trend and the weight stability has been awesome. That I'm not swinging in weight because I'm eating 6,000 calories or that I'm eating back-to-back days and just getting out of control. It doesn't mean that those days won't happen. I know that they will. That's when I apply the 80-20 rule, meaning 20% of the time, I get to fuck around. I get to eat what I want. The other 80% of the time, I'm tracking my calories. And tonight I get to eat again, and I'm making something different. I'm trying new recipes out. I'm really trying to go for high volume, low calorie, because I feel like that's a really good hack. It gives me the opportunity to eat a lot more food in volume that is more nutrient dense, but at the same time can fill me up, but doesn't have so many calories that I'm now having to fast for longer. And that's pretty much what my refeeds look like after completing my alternate day fast.